Hi guys, I hope you're doing good. Welcome to my channel. My name is Abigail, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing what you can do after graduation in China, even if you're getting your bachelor's degree or your master's degree or your PhD. Well, I only have a master's degree, so I'm not sure about PhD students, but I think it can work for you as well. So I'm going to be sharing everything that I did up until now, like how I was able to change my visa from a student visa to the visa that I have, all the documents that you're going to need, and all the steps that you need actually, all the steps you can do and take. So firstly, before I did graduate, I was doing my master's degree in a city called Zhejiang. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right because some of the cities, they have an N in there and it's a little bit hard to pronounce. So that's where I was, in Jiangsu province. I got my master's degree last year in 2024. And before I graduated, I already had a job. I was working as a foreign trader for this company. We're selling a lot of different things. Actually, yeah, we're selling things online to different countries internationally. And I was a sales manager there. Now the thing is that I did want to work I loved the job that I had there and I was okay. I wanted to, after I graduated, I did want to get a work visa with that company and they were very willing to help me get a work visa. After I got my degree and everything, I started the process. So what you need firstly for a work visa, it's not complicated. Before I thought it was quite complicated. I think it's different depending on the job that you have. I don't know about teachers because people that teach English in China, they also, I think that one is a process because for that one you have to have a degree as a certificate or something just that can prove that you're a native or you've studied English so you can teach to kids in schools or just tutor, I think. So for foreign trade, it's very different because you're just working in sales. Now, even that one, I think you have to have some kind of sales background because when you're applying for the work permit, there's so many documents that you need, and one of them is something that will ask you to say, do you have work experience in this field or not? So I got an agent. This agent, because I think doing it by yourself or the company doing it for the first time, it's a little bit complicated if they don't know how to go about the process. So the company that I was working for had never had a foreigner work with them. I was the first one. So they didn't really know how to apply for the work permit. Although there was one time before I started the whole process, we went out to dinner with my boss and my colleagues, and there was a guy who was from Pakistan and he was working as a foreign trader as well in that city. So he was trying to move to my company. They were trying to poach him from his other company because he was a very good salesperson. So he was telling the boss about how he was able to get the work permit. It's actually easy. The company can apply for themselves for you online because everything you do online. Now they didn't know how to do that. So when the time came for me to change my visa, because I couldn't change it while I was still a student, I had to graduate first. So now the time came and I got the agent. So the agent was going to do everything for us. So she needed some documents from the company. I think you need your boss's ID card, the business register. Like there's some documents. The agent's going to tell you exactly what you need. Now for you, the person, the applicant, what you need a police clearance from your country. That's one document you cannot get in China. All the other documents you can get while you're here in China. But even that one you can get while you're here in China, but you can't get it from a Chinese police station. So you have to get a police clearance from your country. Now I'm in China. I've never gone back to my country since I came here. And the police clearance has to be valid for 6 months from the time that you got it. After 6 months, it becomes invalid and you can't use it anymore. Now, luckily, the agent explained to me, say there are so many other Zambians that applied with her and they were able to get their police clearance from back home while still being in China. You just need to find somebody who's in your country that can help you go to all the places, the offices. I mean, there's some bribing that is needed in there because you're going to spend a lot of money because you're not there. So I had my mom help me because, yeah, my family is still back home. So I asked my mom to help me. She went to, in Zambia, how we do our police clearance, you have to do the fingerprints and everything. So they have those in the system. Now, I didn't know that after 3 years, those fingerprints, well, I think they just changed their system. But apparently after 3 years, you can't use them anymore. So now it became even more complicated. So what they had to do, she had to go back to the same police station we went to before we came to China to get our police clearance. And then luckily she found the exact man that did our fingerprints. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember your kids. Because I came to China with my brother. I am in China with my brother, but not in the same city. So he's like, yeah, I remember your kids. Now my brother and I, we did graduate at the same time. So I started the process because I was working and I wanted to get a work permit. And he was like, you know what, let me just do it as well. So he just wanted to get his police clearance just in case he decided to. I mean, even he wanted to get a work permit, a work visa, I mean. So we're not just doing the same process. Now it was expensive because we're not there. You know, I don't know about you guys and your countries, but in Zambia, if you're not there, you're gonna pay a lot of money. They like bribes. So what happened is that we had to pay some money first for this man to do it. He's like, oh, you have to pay money because I also have to give some money to the people that work in the office there to convince them to be able to do this process for you. So we had to pay money. I was okay with that because when you convert RMB to kwacha, it's not around the same value, so it was okay. It was still expensive though. So we started the process. Now it took long, and my visa was about to expire. The agent even told me to say, how I wish you had started this process earlier, because for the police clearance from back home to come out, this process, firstly they have to go to the police station, then they have to go to Home Affairs, then they have to go to the Chinese embassy for it to become very what's the word? It has to be certified that it's actually legit, the police clearance from her country. They came to the embassy and everything else. Now that process takes around 2 weeks. But at that time in my country, there was a holiday for 4 days. I was frustrated. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so frustrated because my visa was expiring in a month and I needed the documents to be out. Now when my mother went after 2 weeks, she went to the embassy, and the policeman that she went to, that man said, oh, we're gonna fast track it for you. It'll be out in 4 days. It came out in 14 days, 2 weeks. So now the process already took long at the police station, and now also at the embassy it took about a week and some days. Time was just running, like I was really frustrated, I'm not gonna lie to you. So what happened was, in that time my boss was also pressuring me, because there was a time that the police here in China, they came at the company where I was working in Nantong at the time, in Jiangsu province. So the police came and they found me there. They were doing a census. They didn't even come looking for me. It's illegal working in China as a student. So they were doing a census because at that in Nantong where I was working, the place where I was a county, and there were so many factories. And there was a factory where they had an accident. I think a fire broke out and 2 people died. So now they were doing a census, just checking the places to make sure the factories they have all the safety rules and all the safety measures in place. So they came, and when they came there, this is what happened. You know, as a foreigner working in China as a student, it's very scary. When the police came there, we looked at each other, and we all I kept walking. They also just kept walking. I think we were all confused, like, what's this foreigner doing here? And I was like, what are these police people doing here? So that's a whole nother story for another day anyway. So my boss was telling me to say, I need to get this work permit and work visa sorted as quickly as I can so that I can just be working legally, so we can order some peace of mind. Because my boss had to pay some money, because you get a fine if you're working illegally. So my boss had to pay a fine. Luckily they charged me, but my boss paid for it. He was a very great man. I love that boss so much. So now all the documents were ready. I had my certificates from my school, my degrees. I had the police clearance from here in China, and I also had gotten the police clearance from my country back home. Now I was about to start the process. Actually, when you're doing the work permit applications, it's online. So when you apply for the police clearance, if it's not been sent, like before they send it, the agent will tell you to say, ask them to take pictures, to scan the documents rather, and send you the soft copy. They can use that while you're waiting for it to arrive here. Because I think you just have to go with the actual document when you go to apply for the work visa. So for the work purposes online, you can just apply the soft copy. So that now we're waiting for that to happen. What happened was the documents came, and I had a few days. I think I had a week with some days left before my visa was going to expire. I'm sorry, I do have a flu, so I'm a little bit itchy. So the documents, they came, and she applied. It took I think a day or two. They applied for everything online, and we're just waiting because we had all the documents. Everything was fine. She reassured me it was okay. Now what happened was that the following day after she applied, they called the company where I was working. They called the secretary, and they told her to say, you can't get a work permit for the person you're trying to apply for, because in Nantong here, in that particular county, they don't give work permits to foreigners for that particular job, especially if you didn't study that particular program in high school. And they told me that. I was devastated. Because my boss now, and since now the police knew that they're applying for, they applied with the, I don't know why, where you apply, whatever, they knew. So they were like, oh, they're trying to apply for a foreigner. So now they told them to say she can't work there. And now my boss was like, you know what, now you just can't work here anymore. We really would have loved you to stay, but you can't stay, unfortunately, because if you work here, they're going to fine us even more money. So he was like, you don't have to leave immediately. You can take your time, try and make some plans for yourself, but you can't work anymore. And I was devastated because I liked that job and I liked that place. elected people. We were all distraught because so I told the agent, and now with the agent, the agent is not free. You have to pay agent's fee. So I paid 5,000, and when you sign the contract, in the contract it says they will not refund you if it's not their problem, if everything they did was okay, and it just didn't work out because of some other things. So she did not want to refund me my money. But I just thought I'd say, listen, I need to start making a new plan. Actually, I told her I'd say I wanted to apply with her for a different visa. So she was like, okay, we can refund half. So she gave me back half. She gave me back 2,500. So I lost 2,500. And I also applied for the police clearance, remember? So I spent money on that document. A lot of money to pay the people that were doing the signing, the things, the process, and even to pay for the same thing. It was like everything's not free. So at this point, I had already lost more than 5,000 yuan. All my savings were just taking a hit at this point. So now I had to apply for a graduate visa because my brother and my friend, they were doing this other process where it's not a work permit, it's a graduate visa. It's called an entrepreneur visa, where you're a student, you just graduated, and you want to get a startup business visa so you can start something for yourself. And that one is easy. You don't even need any police clearance back home, just all the documents you have from right here in China. I'm going to tell you the other documents you need actually. So now I was like, you know what, let me just try for this one. Now again, I had to pay agency fee another amount. And I did want to use the agent I used before because I could use her. She also does the same kind of visa for you. She does different things. But I just felt like she had bad luck tied to me because why didn't the work permit work? So I was like, no, I was going to use the agent that my brother and my friend were using. At this point, we had to travel to Guangzhou. So I went with my brother and my friend. We all went to Guangzhou. Now, I didn't have the time to start applying for the graduate visa at that particular time because I only had a week left before my visa was going to expire. So now I had to apply for a stay visa. Back in the days, it was very easy to apply for a stay visa anywhere, especially in Guangzhou. But now it has become so complicated. So again, I was stressed because if they were going to deny me that the stay visa for a month, I was going to have to leave China because I wasn't going to start living here like illegally, you know. So what happened was I had to find a reason. Now you need to have a reason to say why are you applying for a stay visa. Before you could just say I just graduated, I'm waiting for my school. Oh yeah, actually this is the thing. After I graduated, I did apply for a PhD at like 3 different universities, and 2 of them accepted me. So I had an admission from 2 universities for a PhD, but I was so tired of being a student. I didn't want to be a student. And just a piece of advice: if you're applying for a visa in China after you graduate, you don't want to be a student, always have a safety net. Apply for another degree, anything, so you can have a school admission. So if whatever you're doing does not work out, you can just go ahead and go for that visa. By the way, I am doing some laundry and I can hear it, so I'm not sure if the mic is able to filter out the noise. If you can hear it, I'm so sorry. So what happened is this now. So what I had to do was I had to get a plane ticket that I'm leaving China, but I had to get it, the days had to be a little further from the actual day when my visa was going to expire. So I got a plane ticket, and now I had to go to the immigration to tell them, say, I have a plane ticket, I just graduated, here are my documents, my degrees, my master's degree, my bachelor's degree, I've been in China for 6 years, and I just need a stay visa before my flight so that I don't stay here illegally. And this is the good part. Actually, when you go to the immigration, it just depends on the officer you find there. There were so many different people that were applying for the same stay visa and they were rejected. You can just see, because you're all sitting in the waiting area and you just go by the window. So they were going there, they were just being told no. And you can't start fighting, you just leave. So like more than 6 people went before me and they were all told no. But when I got there, the same policeman was telling people no. He was just so relaxed. He's like, oh, so you were studying in China, that's amazing. He asked me a few questions about my school, how the study was. Since I don't speak Chinese very fluently, how was I managing? I told him to say, well, our professors, they spoke English. He's like, wow, interesting. So I got the stay visa, and normally now they only give like a week or 2 weeks. I was given 1 month. I was so happy. Like everything at that time, I was frustrated before. Don't forget, I was denied a work permit. So this time I was already very frustrated. I had lost so much money. So this just made me feel a little bit better, you know. I got a 1 month stay visa, and now I could make myself organize my thoughts and my plans to apply for the graduate visa. So I started the process. I used the agent my brother and my friend used. Now for the graduate visa, the documents you need, you just need your degree, and you need the medical report. You have to go for a whole checkup. You also need, I think, a police clearance, but just the one in China works, because they will give you one after you graduate to say, oh, this person was studying at our school. she don't commit any crimes, she's clean. And then you also need a business plan because you're applying for a startup business visa, so you have to have a business plan, and that thing is so like complex. So the agents, they're going to help you with that particular thing, the business plan, but everything else they're gonna guide you. This agent guides you every step of the way. If you want the agent that I used, you can ask me in the comments and I will give you her contact. She is lovely and delightful. She actually gave me my own other personal person to help me with the process and everything else. So you have the agent, another person, there's another guy who does go with you to the immigration. So it's just amazing. She will help you with every step. So now I started this process. I had my documents and I went to the immigration. I didn't want to go to the same immigration I went to for the stay visa, because I told them to say I was leaving. I had a plane ticket to exit China. So now I went to a different immigration because you have to make an appointment online. So when you go there, as long as you made the appointment is gonna have everything you're gonna do there, what you're gonna apply for, what kind of visa. So when you get there, just give them the documents. If they say no, they say no. They take them, then they give the visa, they start the process. So when I got there, the lady now took my documents and she started putting my details in the computer. Then she's like, wait, you just got a stay visa this month saying you are leaving China. Now at that point, I was again frustrated. I'm like, wow, they have all this in the system. I mean, I knew that everything in China is like they have everything in the system, but I was like, what? How do you know this information? So she was like, yeah, it's showing in the system that you are supposed to exit China. You applied for a stay visa for that particular purpose. So now why are you applying for a different visa? And I told her to say, listen, I did apply to leave China, but I had to cancel that flight because I want a visa so that I can start up a business for myself. I just graduated, and in my country in Africa, in Zambia, there are so many. I just had to make up, like, I had to explain so many things. Not really like very complicated. I just had to tell her to say, I just want a visa so that when I leave, when I go and discover some things that I can start selling there in my country, I can come back to China and buy them. Since China is a source for a lot of things, I want to start a business for myself. So she was like, okay, fine. We hear that. Now, we can't guarantee that you're going to get this visa because you applied to leave China. But they took my documents and they gave me the receipt to say, because when you apply for a visa, they will tell you to say, just come on this day to collect your passport. But they told me to say, we're going to call you and tell you if you've been approved for this visa. I was stressed. This is the thing, you can track everything online. If you make the appointment for yourself, and I do know how to make appointments as well. So if you do want to make an appointment for yourself, especially for a stay visa, the stay visa, I didn't use an agent, I did it by myself. But for the graduate visa, I did use an agent. But even that one, I think you can do by yourself. So just ask me, I know how to make the appointment. It's quite easy, it's not complicated, but it is in Chinese. So now, I was like, okay, fine. They gave me the receipt. They told me to say, on the receipt, it had a day on which I can come and collect the passport. But they did tell me to say I should not follow that day. That's just for formality's sake. But they're going to call me and tell me if I got the visa. And that's what happened. So I left. And at that time, I was in Guangzhou. I didn't have an apartment. I was just staying in hotels, which was very expensive. So now I wanted to apply for a job in Shenzhen. I wanted to just find something, maybe like a business or something in Shenzhen. I don't know why I really just wanted Shenzhen. I didn't want to be in Guangzhou. It's very ghetto in Guangzhou. So I moved to Shenzhen and I started looking for something that I could do for myself. At this time, I had no visa. I was moving by faith. Let me tell you something, guys. Moving by faith works. You have to have faith in the Lord. Pray. You must always pray. Be in constant prayer. At this point, I could have lost faith a long time ago. First, they denied me the work permit. Secondly, they've told me to say I might not get this graduate visa. I was stressed, but I was praying. I kept praying. At that time, I think there are times in my life where I've prayed, yes. But this particular time, I was in very serious prayers. When I'm walking in the streets, I was praying. When I'm sitting down, I was praying. When I'm sleeping, I was praying. Just asking the Lord, Father Lord Jesus Christ, please bless and grant that they may give me even just 6 months. Because for a graduate visa, you can get between 6 months to 3 years. So I just wanted even 6 months. Because everybody was getting 6 months. Even the agent would tell you to say, normally you can get 6 months. In very rare cases, you get 1 year. For that agent, so many people had applied with her and only 2 people got 1 year. So I was praying for even just 6 months because I felt like within the 6 months, I could find a plan for myself, something. So at this time, I had spent all the money I had paying 2 agents, paying for documents, paying for medical bills, paying for so many different things, paying for hotels. So I was broke. I was in debt. I had to borrow some money. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. Borrowing money from people is not easy because they are, especially when they know you don't have a job, they're like, how are you going to pay me back? Well, just so you know, I don't have. So But luckily, I've got a friend. Actually, yeah, he's a friend of mine and my brother's. He was the one who helped us out. So I'm so grateful to him. He did help us a lot. So I borrowed some money, and at this time now we had to find an apartment in Shenzhen. And let me tell you, Shenzhen is not cheap. The rent here, the rent that I was paying in Jiangsu province, I was paying for a 3-bedroom apartment, and it was a very big apartment. I was paying like around 1,800 in Shenzhen. Oh, I don't know what kind of apartment you're gonna get for that money, because the ones we're finding were like 2,000, 2,500, and it was like studio apartments or very shitty 2-bedroom apartments. But the one that I found now is pretty. It's not very big. It's small but cute and pretty. I like it, and it's like 2,500. So we found an apartment, and at this time I didn't have a job, but I was applying for certain things, like, because when you apply for the graduate visa, the startup business visa, in the proposal, the business proposal, it said it's because you're starting a business, so you can say I'm going to cooperate with different companies, different businesses, so that I can, yeah, so you can enter into cooperations with different foreign traders, other companies that are already established. So now I was trying to find foreign trade companies that I can cooperate with, work with. And at this time I had applied for several jobs. Again, applying for a job can be a dire process. Applying for any kind of thing, cooperation, foreign trade, whatever, it can be a dire process. So when you're doing it, don't be frustrated, just be patient, pray for the Lord's patience and peace. Okay, so that's what I did. I was applying for these things, and I did find one, luckily, thankfully. And we found an apartment, and now the agent called me. Oh my goodness, the agent called me. She texted me. She's like, you got the visa and you got 1 year. Now my brother and my friend, they got 6 months. So she was like, don't tell your brother and friend that you got 1 year, because they're going to be so mad because they only got 6 months. I mean, she was just joking. I was so happy that I got 1 year, guys. I was praying for 6 months, but I got 1 year. There's a Bible verse that says, God is able to do far more than you can ask for or even imagine. And in this moment, I felt that. When the day came to collect the visa, I didn't even have money to go and collect it. It was 800 yuan. I didn't even have 800 yuan. I didn't even have 100 yuan. I was broke. So now I had to start finding money. Now I did ask several people. They didn't have. I don't know if they were just being stingy, but they told me they didn't have. So now I decided to just text the people that I was working with before in Nantong, because they were so good. They were lovely. So I texted this one particular friend I had. My boss's son's wife. She was my friend. And I told her my situation. She was like, that's very fine. How much do you need? I told her how much I needed, and she gave me the money. She told me to, you can pay me back whenever I have the money. I was like, oh my goodness. This time, the Lord was the favor was just pouring from all angles. So I was able to get the visa. I went to collect the visa. Now, when I went to the immigration, I went and I paid the money. Because this is the thing, my brother as well, the document he was given said he was going to get 1 year to 1 year to 3 years. But when he went there, they charged him the one from 6 months. So the one they gave him was 6 months. So even me, when I went there, I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, the agent told me I was going to get 1 year, but what if I go there and it's like what happened to my brother and they gave me 6 months. When I got there, I paid the 800. So it was 1 year. It was certain. And when I went to the next building to collect my passport, because you can't collect in the same building for that particular immigration, so I went to the next building to get my passport. When I got there, they looked for my passport and they found it and they gave it to me. They were like, oh, your name is Abigail? I'm like, yeah. So they gave me my passport. When they gave it to me, I opened it to look at the visa, and the expiry date was showing 2026. Now, we were in 2024. That was last year. So in my mind, I'm like, wait, did they make a mistake? I thought I was seeing things. I thought I was confused. I thought it was invalid or something. So I wanted to go back and ask them to say, wait, it says 2026 or 2025. But I was just like, you know what? Let me just text the agent. So I took a picture and I sent to the agent, and she was also shocked. She's like, wow, you got 2 years. This is a very rare case. Normally people get 6 months as a common one. Sometimes in rare cases they get 1 year, but you have gotten 2 years. You can't understand the joy that I had in this moment. I had so much joy. In that moment, I smiled. I was by myself in the street. I smiled so much. I started praying. I was like, thank you, Father Lord. I didn't even have the right words to express my gratitude. I was so grateful to God. They told me I couldn't get the visa, and I was praying for 6 months. The agent told me I got 1 year, but when I got there, I had been given 2 years. This is a testimony, you know. This is a very good testimony. So prayer is important, because when I applied for the visa, I prayed. I kept praying and praying, and the Lord, He is the Father who answers our prayers. He really does. So I'm so grateful for that. And afterwards, yeah, so I got my 2 years, and my new life in Shenzhen started. So now I live in Shenzhen, and this is where I am. I don't really have much of a social life here, but I'm at peace. I have peace. I go to the gym, I do my businesses and everything, and I make YouTube videos to help everybody else that wants some help. So if you have any questions, if everything I've explained right here, you've got a few questions, you want me to just go in detail and explain to you step by step a few things, you can let me know in the comment section, and I will be so glad to help you out, because trust me, applying for a visa is a very stressful process. It's frustrating. You can feel angry. Just the whole process itself is not easy. So I understand. So just let me know in the comments if you need some help or any guidance, and I'm going to help you. And if you guys want the agent I used, let me know. I'll hook you up. Because the first agent I used, I don't think, listen, there are people that have applied with her and they got their visas. She has so many good reviews. Even I have a friend of mine who applied with her, and he got his work visa using the agent. So it's just, with me, I feel like her and I, the connection just, it didn't fit right. So I switched this other agent, and it was the best decision that I made. Well, the Lord did bless. The Lord's blessings were upon me. His favor is endless. His blessings are endless. So that's what I want to share with you guys, what you can do after you graduate. And also, if you need some help on the jobs you can apply for with this visa, and just what you can do after you get this particular visa, you can also let me know in the comments, and I'll be able to help you out. I'll tell you everything you need to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish everybody good luck who is graduating this year. If you want to stay in China, yeah, you can try this. If you want to go back home, or good luck with you back home in your country. But I would advise you to stay in China, because you can make a lot of money, my friend. So good luck, friends, and I hope you get your graduate visas. You get 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They can give you 3 years, so I do hope you get all of these 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. But even 6 months is fine, because you can do so much. I can tell you what you can do after you get the 6 months. So let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.